So we'll start with the first understanding of the Gita. Is there are two dialogues that are happening inside the Gita. So there's a dialogue between Dhritarashtra, who is a blind king, and he speaks the very first verse of the Bhagavad Gita. And he speaks it to his minister, who is, his name is Sanjaya. And the first verse in the Gita that Dhritarashtra speaks is Dharma kshetre Kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavasyeva kimma kurvata Sanjaya. So Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjaya about the events of a battle. And Sanjaya, through a mystic potency, could see the battle while it was going on. And he's remembering what is happening in this battle. And so this is the outer shell. Think of like a Russian nesting doll. Like, this is the outer shell of the Gita. Now the inner shell is another dialogue, which is between Krishna and Arjuna. So the outer dialogues are asking, one thing we can actually understand is there's an outer dialogue and there's an inner dialogue. And this is my first time trying to do it like this, but we can see that there's the outer and then there's the outer and inner. So there's some difference between these. So in the outer dialogue, Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya are asking about what are the events of the war. Now, the inner dialogue, which is Krishna and Arjuna, the inner dialogue is talking about wisdom, it's talking about purpose, it is talking about learning. And so the first lesson that we can learn from the Gita is that when we see the outer dialogue, the inner dialogue, small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, and great minds discuss wisdom. So Dhritarashtra is asking a very interesting question. He's saying, how are my children doing, basically? But the thing is that it's the same family and there's a dispute between them. And so as soon as he says, Mamaka Pandavasyeva, he starts saying, how are my families doing? He's immediately seeing that they're my enemies and these are my friends. So immediately in his mind, he starts thinking, friends and enemies. And once you get into that consciousness, these are my enemies and these are my friends, then actually you can see that this is his fall down. He starts thinking about people, he starts thinking about events. Now Krishna and Arjuna's whole problem, and this is very, Arjuna gives 5 arguments, but it's based on this, that the side of the Dhritarashtra, the blind king, is a side that is killing people unnecessarily, raping women, not taking care of their own people, and basically causing havoc in society. Now Arjuna is related to these guys, and him and his 5 brothers basically say, no, we don't want to do this, and we want to fight, and we want to side on the side of Dharma, on the side of religion. So Arjuna and Krishna are on the battlefield, and Arjuna's lips starts quivering, his body starts shaking, tears start falling down his eyes. Krishna's saying, why are you crying? Why so sentimental? He says, how can I enjoy a kingdom that I have won that is watered with the blood of my own family? And he gives so many arguments that why I shouldn't be fighting in this war. Because if I kill all the men, then the women will be unprotected. And when there's women who are unprotected, they may lead to children who are even more unruly than the parents. And there could be havoc in society. And so Arjuna throws down his bow and says, I will not fight. And now Krishna's whole thing is now he's saying why he should act and how he should act. So you can see that we consider this one of the most sacred books. This doesn't happen in a yoga studio. This doesn't happen in a peaceful field. This happens in the center of the battlefield. So one of the lessons that we can learn from the Bhagavad Gita is that this wasn't happening in a very peaceful time where I have nothing really going on. Arjuna's in the middle of the battlefield and he's thinking, should I fight or should I not? It's the same way we're in the middle of our own struggles, our own battles. And we can understand that the teachings of the Gita will help us in every way. So we have the inner dialogue and the outer dialogue. So let us continue. So this is a little bit about how the Gita is structured. If you ever open the Gita, you can see that there's all these different sections. So you can see that this is the original, it's called Devanagari. This is the original Sanskrit that the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. And then there is this is called if anybody's keeping score, Ucharana, which basically means transliteration. So you have the Sanskrit, and if you don't read Sanskrit, and if I don't know if anybody's brushed up on the Sanskrit, read Sanskrit, you have this, which basically is exactly how this sounds. Sanjaya Vacha Eva Mukta Rishikesham Gurakesha Parantapa No Yotsya Iti Govindam Ukta Tushnim Bhabuvaha. So this is how it sounds, that Sanskrit sounds. Then you have something called the word to word. Now, this is a problem with maybe other scriptures, is that what do all these Sanskrit words mean? How do we know what they mean? Now, we can understand what they mean based off Sanskrit dictionaries. We can based off on how the previous teachers have taught it. And so we have what is to be understood is this is called the word to word. What every single word in the Bhagavad Gita means. Now we have the translation, which is the text in bold. Then we have this thing called the tika. Nothing to do with tandoori restaurants, but the tika literally means a purport, which means a commentary on the text to see how this text is relevant in our lives. So this is how it's insights of teachers from generations and how to practically apply them in our lives. So this is the Gita. This is how, if you ever open the Gita, this is what you'll find. So just so nobody has to learn Sanskrit, nobody has to learn, you can always pick it up and read it. So, just an introduction to the Gita. It is 5,000 years old. It is 700 verses long. It is 18 chapters. It has 5 main topics. It has 3 different paths of yoga that it mentions. And it has one goal, which is to think a little bit more broadly about the whole situation of life we're in. So we can actually see that if we're rethinking our life, you change your life for 2 reasons. You can see that you can change your life for inspiration, or you can change your life for frustration. So sometimes we get inspired, and sometimes we're like, okay, I gotta do something new with my life. And sometimes we're like, yeah, that really didn't work. And we get frustrated with life, and then we just like, okay, time to think of something new. What is the definition of insanity that someone gives?
The definition of insanity thing over and expecting a different result.
So if I keep doing things that frustrate me, if I keep trying again and again, well,
you're insane.
I'm insane, right? So most of us, every sphere of kind of inspiration and frustration and the solutions for that, we can find in the Bhagavad Gita. And we can see that there's a lot of now modern self-help books which actually speak about this. We can see even the principles of the Gita permeating those books. Many of you have read The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, Robin Sharma's The Monk Who Sold his Ferrari, which I'm still trying to find that Ferrari. You could see Atomic Habits. You could see the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You can see The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
That one's powerful.
Powerful, right?
Very.
And we can see that, but as I put in the previous slide, if you want new ideas, go to a old book. And I want to, as far as I can get, when do we usually end? So
7:45.
7:45. We'll go as much as we can, and I like to show you how the principles of the Gita can be shown through even these books, and you can see that has anybody read some or all of these books?
I read The Power of Now, The Secret, and I have the 7 Habits, but it's so boring, I keep falling asleep. Did not do a good job.
So hopefully the Gita is more interesting.
Yeah, well, it's getting there.
It's getting there. So the first thing that Krishna is showing is redefining success, of what it means to be successful. Now, there's a famous quote. He says, "I think everyone should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so they can see that it's not the answer."
I know who you're talking about.
Jim Carrey?
Yeah, as soon as you said it, I was like, I know who said that.
So Arjuna comes to a moment where he realizes that everything I thought was a success is not going to make me happy. And life is structured in such a way that every time we deem something to be a success, we realize that success never really brought us happiness. We make our goals, our aspirations, but even after meeting our goals, have you ever met a goal, but there's still something missing? There's a famous YouTube video of this valedictorian speaking, and I think he graduated a couple years ago. And he's basically saying that I worked my whole high school career. I worked all day, all night just to get to this point of me speaking on the stage to you. Mm-hmm. And I realized that this is not what I'm meant for. So when we see, and the Gita speaks about this, and redefining success. Can somebody read this quote to me really loud, who has a loud voice?
I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses.
Who use it?
I will not be able to dispel it, even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on the earth with sovereignty, like the demigods in heaven.
So Arjuna is coming to this realization that material happiness is not giving him solutions. And so he's realizing that material happiness, the one problem, it has futility, and so that means you get frustrated when you try to get it. And 2, you get substantiality, which is a big word, which means it doesn't fully quench my thirst. It's like, oh, it's like a mirage in the desert. It's like, oh, I'm always gonna get it. It's like there's an old Geico commercial. Remember this? It's like the guy with the dollar on the fishing hook. It's like, you almost got it. You almost got it. Gotta be quicker than that. So it's insubstantiality. And then there's 3. There is temporality, and how everything is temporary. It makes us happy for a second, then it goes away. it's all temporary. And the fourth one is duality. Every time I get happiness, I also get some sort of pain. Lottery winners are most happy until their family starts asking them for money. And you don't realize how many family members you have. They're like, oh my God, I'm your second cousin from your goldfish side. And and that's and then you're just like, what? And so once you have realized what is success, is it just earning more money? Is it to get the most amount of this, the most amount of that, this? And you understand it's futile, it's insubstantial, it's temporary, and it also has a duality. Then you have futility, insubstantiality, temporality, duality, and then you look for spirituality. This is what is the spirituality. Sorry, my spelling is just going to be horrible today. So this is what Krishna's first point is that you want success? First, redefine what success is. Now the second thing is, after redefining success, okay, Krishna, who am I? If I'm not these, if I don't want these material temporary things, who am I to first inquire? And so the first thing Krishna speaks is something about rediscovering identity. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to change you is the greatest accomplishment. So the whole world is trying to influence. Everybody's trying to be an influencer. And even without you knowing, actually you all are influencing somebody. I mean, you're influencing her, she's influencing you. And you guys are all influencing me. So the way we talk, the way we walk. One time there was an accusation made of the Hare Krishna movement that, oh, you guys are brainwashing people. And so they proved it, like this is a bona fide process for coming from India, 5,000 years. And the Prabhupada said, yes, their brains require a little washing. Because we accept things that are like a fact. Like there's no way even to think outside the box. We think like, oh, you get born, you go through school, and it doesn't matter what, if you're good at, maybe you're good at carpentry, maybe you're good at plumbing, maybe you're good at with your hands. No, everybody takes the same subjects, everybody does the same thing. Okay, what do you do? If you finish school, you go to college, you get into $100,000 worth of debt. After college, what am I supposed to do? I'm gonna struggle, and I mean struggle, to get a good job, and get a good job, get housing. After get housing, get a wife, get kids. After kids, then it just goes on and on and on and on of what a pre-molded way of success is. I still remember the fear that my mother and father had when I told them I wanted to become a monk. The eyes are like, what? It's not really a normal career path, It's like, oh, a doctor, lawyer, something like that. But they when I explained to them that, yes, we're here for a certain reason, and if we succeed in understanding who we actually are, this is the main point. This is one of the main bases of life. If not, we'll just become a name. Anthony, right?
Yes.
I'll do a thought experiment with you. I pick you because you're a friend. Can you tell me the name of your great-grandfather?
My great-grandfather?
Yes.
I don't know his name.
Don't know his name?
No.
Can you tell me the name of your great-grandfather?
No, I can't.
Anshu? Your great-great-grandfather.
Me or him?
Okay, you know your great-grandfather's name?
I think it's Santos.
Okay, your great-great-grandmother.
I don't know.
Amazing, right? These people we are so indebted to, because without them, we wouldn't be here. But what has become of them? gone with time. What they probably had a wife. We definitely know they had kids. They had a house. They maybe had vehicles. They had money. They had influence. Where is it all now? So the point of this is not to depress you, but I'm saying to invest in things that are actually going to sustain. What are we going to invest in? So Krishna's first explanation of what is the goal of life is, first you have to find your identity. And so Arjuna, you want to read this one?
Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change.
Yes. So I just wanted to explain that there is two terms that we can understand that about discovering ourselves. That the first one is upadhi, and the second one is anartha. So upadhi can be translated as designation. Can somebody name a designation that we all kind of have? Maybe a different monk. Okay. Any other designations?
Male, female.
Male, female,
New Yorker.
New Yorker, mother, father, engineer. Any other artist? Huh? National, Chinese, New York, American, Indian. What else? Gay, bisexual, straight, trans. Yeah, we have so many upadhis that we identify with. Now we have something called anartha. Sorry, monks aren't very, very good with technology. So, yeah. So upadhi. Then there is anartha. Anartha can be called as impurity. So things that bog us down, things that impurities like lust, anger, greed. So from there we can see that these things, and upadhi is, what does upadhi mean? Designation. And we put these things, I'll use that word. We impose these things onto an already spiritual soul. Right? Here's this. Yeah. We impose this onto the soul. And that is actually a very dangerous thing. Because if we put too many designations, and if we put too many dirty kind of like, not dirty, but say like already acquired anarthas or impurities, then actually the soul starts thinking it's somebody else. It starts thinking that I'm actually Chinese. I'm actually a New Yorker. I'm actually an American. I'm actually gay. I'm actually fat. I'm actually skinny. I'm actually this. I'm actually that. And it's forgetting, it's being programmed into thinking a certain way. And when it's being programmed to think a certain way, it forgets actually who we actually are. Right? Yes. So we can see that when we have, has anybody heard of the term ego death?
Yes.
Yeah.
What does ego death mean?
Loss of sense of identity.
Who we are. Who are we? I'll tell you what has led to ego death in many people. When there's a change in abilities, there's a change in facility, and there's a change in identity. And when there's a change in ability, like let's say someone is an amazing football player, and that's your identity, and you get hit, and you have a concussion, can never play football again, ego death. When you have a facility, you have millions of dollars, you make one wrong move at a casino, identity of a rich person is gone.
My great uncle, he had a big mansion at Beverly Hills. Like, you drive the car and it like turns the road, like lifts your car around. He owned one of those kind of like those castle restaurants.
Yeah.
The horses and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it went bankrupt, and then he passed away after that because the ego death, the mind is so powerful. He was done.
If we have ego, a lot of you may have experienced ego death. I think to some extent everybody has experienced ego death, because why would you be here? None of you are grown up in this temple in Brooklyn. You guys came here to discover something, find something. Either you came because you happen to be coming on a Monday and you realized the food was much better today, or you came on an Eventbrite or Meetup, or you just happen to come every Sunday. You like the vibes. You all are coming here for something, but you're also giving up a certain mindset or mentality. Even sitting on the floor. Like, when's the last time? Like, maybe some of you prefer to sit. I love sitting on the floor, and I can sit on the floor for hours and hours and hours. But I remember the first time I came to the temple, I'm like, after 20 minutes, I'm like, oh my gosh, my legs. So we take a little bit of discomfort to realize or to attain something that is much higher. So, yes, ego death. So Arjuna is discovering a little bit of ego death. So I'll continue. I want to pause. Anybody have any questions so far?
Why did you say Arjuna is having an ego death? From what you said?
Yeah, so Arjuna is having ego death because everything that he knows to be a success, everything that he thinks is attainable, and up to, if we look at the grand story of things, because the Gita is part of a larger book called Mahabharata, and up to this point he was ready to fight. So much so he got in the chariot, he put in the armors, he got everything. Then he's seeing the Kauravas, he's seeing the other side, and now he's having a death of I don't want to be a warrior. I don't want to be any of these things. I want to go and live in a forest and meditate. I want to become a monk. And you think like Krishna, okay, yeah, go become a monk. You know, we encourage everybody. Have some time in the ashram, be a monk. But Arjuna, Krishna is saying, no, it's not your duty to be a monk. Your duty is to be a warrior and go out and fight.
So is his duty the purpose?
His purpose. His purpose. Hmm?
That's his dharma.
His dharma, exactly. His dharma is to fight and to protect others. Others' dharma can be to be a monk and to be a renunciate. Better to do your dharma imperfectly rather than do an other's dharma perfectly. Make sense? Checking time. Yeah, we're...
I have one more question. Although it's not related, but it will help me understand.
Sure.
So you find this, like you said, you are here for a reason. You go through all that and then you find this. Why is this not natural or being taught in school or as a child? If we learn that from beginning, we don't need to be by default, like eating, sleeping, whatever.
Yeah.
So
We think actually... I can go on a whole tangent on this, on why the system is broken, and like me and Anshu were speaking today after we were eating the prasad at Bhakti Center, and then we were talking about the different skills. You know, like Anshu was saying, like he grew up in San Francisco, and then there it's like very study centric. He said, yeah, like when I grew up, I didn't learn how to cook, I didn't learn how to clean, I didn't learn to do these things. My parents drilled it into me that study. That's the only thing. And now they're getting older. The kids are getting older, and now they're getting good jobs, but they don't know how to cook for themselves. They don't know how to clean themselves. They don't know how to take care of their body. So the material world has a way of brainwashing us. Has a way of thinking that this is the the goal of life, and this is the way to attain it, and this is the way to do it. But actually, if you step back and go back to a simpler way of life, you realize, wow, our grandfathers and our ancestors, they weren't as primitive as we thought. Maybe they lived happier lives than what we live right now. Right? Without screens, without all the huckus buckus of material life. Just a thought experiment. Is that okay? So,
But
yes.
How you understand that it's not his dharma for Arjuna? How, like, if he had this sensation, it's just Krishna that tells him, "This is not your dharma," or why?
Yeah. How I understand, as you'll understand, there's many sections to the Gita. So systematically, Krishna is explaining. So the first reason why we went through is, right, it was repositioning success. And then next one was repositioning our identity, rediscovering identity. So why the first mistake that Arjuna made was that he identified himself with this body. He identifies himself, I'm Arjuna, I'm a warrior, I'm related to him, I'm related to him. The first thing Krishna is trying to dispel is that actually you're none of these things. You're the soul. And then so as you go on through Krishna's arguments and you just see like how he's making these arguments. So next he'll be speaking about, okay, now you rediscover your identity. Now how do you live in this world as this identity? Then he goes on to speak, and I'll just blaze through. After he finds his lifestyle, then okay, I have a good lifestyle. I'm doing karma yoga. I'm practicing this process very very strongly. Yeah, I'm just gonna go through the full thing, and yes, 1 second. Yeah. So rediscovering identity, first he finds his identity, he finds his lifestyle and how he should live in this world. Then he goes into, okay, I found my lifestyle about how I'm going to act in this world, but what about my mind? My mind is giving me so many problems. Then it says, then he tries, okay, now I've conquered my mind, then, okay, what is real love? I'm misdirecting my love to my fellow kind of family members who are causing problems. What is real love? Then he goes on to speak about reconnect. Now, all love is successful when we reconnect with the Supreme. So when you reconnect with the Supreme, then you can have close relationships. Then now you reconnected with the Supreme. Now, how you are going to reconfigure the energy. That's from chapter 13 through 17, which is all speaking about how this world works. What are the energies that are in play? And then so the final is now that you have all this knowledge, go back into life. So Krishna is making this argument about how to find your dharma by this kind of step-by-step process. Is that kind of a little bit?
Okay, so he got this after redefining every step.
Yeah. Arjuna, you look at this, usually in other scriptures, it's just going on, it's just one person speaking. Arjuna's always asking questions to Krishna. What about this? Why this? You said this doesn't make sense to me. And so it's a dialogue. It's not a monologue. So and at the end, Arjuna says, now all my doubts has been dispelled. I'm ready to act as your instrument, Krishna. Does this make sense?
And before that, he said, "Is everything clear?"
Yeah, is everything clear?
Krishna asked him.
And Krishna is so nice. He says, he says, "Tad ichasi tad kuru." Now you do whatever you want. I asked one person, like, what's your favorite verse from the Gita? He's like, yeah, I love when Krishna says, just do whatever the hell you want. Okay, but that's the end. You didn't go through the journey. But yeah, so this is kind of on a very, very high level. why Krishna makes these points.
After that, Arjuna continued to be a warrior, or
Yes, Krishna, Arjuna continued to be a warrior and fulfilled his dharma, his dharmic way of life, and he picked up his bow and fought the war. And spoiler alert, they won. So does that help? Any other questions so far? I kind of ruined the flow of the presentation, but I'm looking at the time. I'm looking like there's just to keep it there. So I was just thinking about the repositioning of the lifestyle that we have so many different types of lifestyle, right? We have different upadhis, designations. So we have material. Sorry. Every time. I don't know why it's doing that. I'll get better at this. So we have material designations like husband, king, father, warrior. Now we have all these designations. Now we have spirituality. And now we have the soul. Now Arjuna is saying, how do I make these spiritual? Do I have to give all these up? I want to become a monk. I want to give all these up. And so Krishna is basically saying, you just need to add the soul to these. If you're going to be a husband, be a spiritual husband. If you're going to be a king, be a spiritual king. If you're going to be a father, be a spiritual father. If you're going to be a warrior, be a spiritual warrior. Now, you may say, okay, once you join any sort of spiritual practice, you're like, oh, I don't have to do any of the material responsibilities. I'm floating on the ocean of spirituality. Now, you may ask, when is the time to exert yourself in material life? What if you want a promotion? What if you want to get better at your job? Now I'll ask you this. Is it wrong for a spiritualist to aspire for higher material comforts? No. Explain, Patrick.
Well, if we're acting in good faith, ethically with love, and have that be the main ingredient in whatever we're doing, then we kind of spiritualize it.
A spiritualist, when Prabhupada was once asked, there was one famous Time magazine. When I say Prabhupada, I'm speaking about our spiritual master Prabhupada. And there was one famous Time magazine cover, and the yogi, there's sacks of money, and this yogi is like, no, I don't want it. And Prabhupada said, if I was asked to be on this Time magazine cover, I will go like this. The reason is, I would not use a farthing on myself. I would use it all on Krishna's service. So a spiritualist sees the whole material atmosphere, the whole material world, and he sees, how can I utilize this in Krishna? How can I utilize this in spiritual? I just do an experiment. I take a walk down the street. How do I spiritualize that walk? Chant, Hare Krishna. I cook myself food. How do I spiritualize that?
Don't add onions and garlic.
Don't add onions and garlic. Why do we not add onion and garlic? Because that's mode of passion, and a spiritualist tries to live in the mode of goodness. Onion and garlic is characterized by spiciness, and in the 17th chapter, Krishna goes into this. What are foods in the mode of goodness? Yes?
There's another example I really like that Prabhupada gives, a very risque example. He says a spiritualist is like a spouse who's cheating on her husband. That's it. So the spouse who's cheating on her husband will do everything extra nice to not cause suspicion, but their heart is doing it for another reason. They're not really attached to their husband, they're attached to their lover.
Yeah.
So the devotee in this world, he may work harder than somebody else. He may be the best businessman or whatever, but his heart is for something else. He's not attached to the money. He's got a deeper purpose. He's cheating on the world.
I love how you put that. I mean, we all have so many different professions. Patrick, what do you do as a profession?
I'm a law professor.
You're a law professor. Jonathan?
I'm an instructor.
He's a jiu-jitsu instructor. Don't mess with him. You know? What do you do for a profession, Jimin?
Artist,
You're-
digital artist.
Artist? I'm sorry. Anjan, yeah.
The surgeon.
He's a surgeon. Anthony, what do you do?
I take care of disability.
Disabled. So many varieties of people. What do you do professionally?
Engineer.
Engineer. What do you do?
I'm doing my residency.
Residency. Wow. This is great. So many varieties of people. And like and I'm just a monk. And we're all in the same room together. So we can do all these professional things. Now nobody's saying to give up everything and become a monk. But to do those things and you do those things on a spiritual platform, people notice. They're like, hey, you're able to work on a much higher platform and you're not doing any of the things that is motivating us. Being ethical at work, being caring about your coworkers, treating them with care, compassion, kindness. These are qualities of spiritualists. And if you do those things, they're like, hey, what'd you eat this morning? What'd you do this morning? What makes you think, oh, you know what makes me, what really keeps me going is my spiritual practice is so important to me, and that really permeates what I do. So I like that point, Nityananda Chandra. So, yes, this is what I think about repositioning lifestyle. Now, we always have one enemy. The Bhagavatam, one famous book, it says one famous, and I'll end here because this chapter 6 is just the first 6 chapters of the Gita. The Bhagavatam says a very famous verse that says, I think I have many enemies. I think it's the kings that are against me. I think it's the government. I think it's my family members. I think all these people are enemies. But actually, I've factually realized today, none of these are my enemies. The only enemy that I truly have is my own uncontrolled mind. Samsara chakra. And it just keeps me going. So now we have a good lifestyle. We know who we are. We are the soul, not the body. And now this mind just comes up. And I just like to just put this drawing of how the mind is like, and I like to describe it like a Google search. You know, like this is like www. whatever, and this is Google. And with any internet search, there is your favorites tab, your history, your home page. Now, Krishna says how to control these things. It is with a thing called abhyasa. Abhyasa means what? Habit. You're just regular practice. And you have your home page, you have your bookmarks, your history, autocomplete. But with any browser, what do you have? Pop-up ads. Everybody loves pop-up ads? No. Now you have things that pop-up ads of your own mind. Like you have what you like, your favorites, your history, your autocomplete. Everything this is like your mind. Now, what do you do with pop-ups? What do you do with pop-ups when they pop up? You X. You never like, oh my gosh, this game looks amazing. But amazing thing. I was with a Swami, and he's been a Swami for like 45 years, 50 years. And then one time he told me to go look up something on his laptop. And I looked at it, he had like ad blocker, explicit content blocker, and I'm like, Maharaj, and I was just very frank with him. I'm like, Maharaj, you have this explicit content blocker. You've been a Swami for 50 years. Why do you have this stuff on your computer? Like, aren't you above that? and I was kind of frank about this. And he told me, Hadai, one time I was on a train at Penn Station, and I was talking to a Harvard graduate, and I was having a very nice conversation with him in the train. And I asked him, what company do you work for? And he said, oh, I work for one of these explicit content sites. And they pay him millions of dollars a year, thousands of dollars for advertising. This was a major at Harvard, to learn advertising.
Oh my God.
And they pay him millions of dollars a year for just to convince me, a user, on my worst day to make one click. For me, in the previous ages, in the 80s, 70s, 60s, to get explicit content or whatever, I had to go to a bookshop or whatever this. Now, just a few clicks on my laptop, I'm there. How powerful are these pop-ups? How powerful is this advertising? Don't you think, like, sometimes you're just speaking into something and then you're just like, I need new shoes. You just start seeing shoe ads everywhere, everywhere. And you think like, oh, that's never gonna get me. But the mind is so powerful, if it sees something again and again and again, it convinces itself that I need this. So with pop-ups, Krishna, which is pop-ups is, we're using with the metaphor, is what the mind's ideas are, where he says that you need something called vairagya. And vairagya means what? Detachment, renunciation. You need to have a little bit, you need to mind your mind. You have to realize you are not this mind of just, I need this, I need this. How many thoughts do you have per day? You know how many thoughts per day?
30,000?
Millions.
Millions,
You're a neurosurgeon, right?
Vascular.
Vascular. But I think a neurosurgeon told me that millions of thoughts per day. And if you act on every single one of these thoughts, what will happen? You'll go nuts. You go nuts. That person who cuts you off on the FDR on the car, and the thoughts that I have on what I want to do with that guy, if I acted upon that, you go crazy. So Krishna is mentioning in the 6th chapter, but how to control your mind, how to actually take care of this mind. Vairagya and abhyas, renunciation and detachment, and practice. And practice doesn't mean you're perfect on day one. Practice means every day I'm going a little bit better. So this is the first section of the Gita. 18 chapters. This is just the first 6 chapters. And I went through some technical issues. I really apologize. But I hope you can, and I kind of went through all the slides, and I explained a little bit. And I'm willing to share the slides with you. I'm willing to share my notes with you. And if you ever want to read the Gita together, please contact me. We're starting a Gita reading group soon in the next few weeks. Maybe the next week or so, we're going to read the Gita together. So if you're interested, please let me know.
You know what time?
Probably in the evenings. We're thinking like Monday evenings.
Monday evening.
Yeah, Monday evenings. So
Will it be online?
online, on Zoom.
Oh, it's online?
On Zoom, yeah.
Or not here?
Yeah, on Zoom.
Oh.
This class isn't going anywhere, right?
This class?
Isn't going anywhere, right?
Sundays, every Sunday until they kick us out. Every Tuesdays and every Sunday we have a class here from 7 o'clock. So yeah, maybe in the next couple Sundays or Tuesdays I can speak on about 6 through 12, 12 through 18. But also I don't want to, it's like drinking through a fire hose. I think you experienced that this morning, how I put a lot of information out there. But thank you so much for tolerating. If there any questions that I can answer, comments, any discussion, or any more interesting would be a reflection. Is anything that you heard that you're gonna put in your pocket today, and you're gonna take it home with you?
I heard y'all were like brainwashers too. My first week here, I was watching people like, just keep a straight mind, Rosie. Keep a straight mind. Don't let them get you.
Yeah.
Now that it passes. I'm like, okay, they're genuine. Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you, Rosie. You're one of the most genuine people that I met today.
Thank you.
Yes, anything else?
Bring with me the fact that yeah, you know, like the sensation of like I got, especially in these last days, I got a lot of the sensation that I'm like moving a lot for a purpose, and I don't really get what's the purpose, but I don't find outside something that matches with this purpose that I feel inside. Yeah, today many little things like matched and say, okay, so this could make sense, and yeah, it's connected a lot with the redefining the identity, and detachment from what you are doing, and also the habits. It's, I guess, really important. I don't still understand why there is this driving force. It's like gravity that always, you know, all these pop-ups are made still by us. So why are we creating these things that like don't help us to stay focused? Or why are we creating this gravity that takes us down? I mean, in this general movement, why Arjuna needs to go to war? Why? That's the big thing.
What do you think, Lieutenant Chandraru?
I think the pure desire of the self is it's like a corrupted file. It's not manifesting properly. Like if you were to paint the light bulb blue, the pure white light is being covered over, and only the expression of blue comes out. So the desire is like a corrupted expression of the true desire of the self. So we want to do, like, I guess, software cleanup of the, like, a antivirus, okay, kind of decorrupt the files so the real desire of the self can manifest. Try to clean out that condition. I really like the pop-up example. That was really fun.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about ads. Like, you don't get ads for like broccoli and sweet potato, the things you actually need.
Yeah.
You don't get ads for it. If it's an ad, it's probably you don't need it.
Quinoa.
You don't need it. If it's an ad, you probably don't need it.
Yeah. Good point. Sometimes the mind has a way of popping up things that even it may be a desire that we just want subconsciously. It's like a way, like, do we truly want focus? Do we truly want goodness? Do we truly want Krishna? Like, I would say, like, when someone asks me, like, how do you know how much progress you've made on the spiritual path? And I say that there's many ways, but one way that's always worked for me, I go home, I put away my shoes, I walk through that door, I close the door, and I'm alone. And then I see who actually I am. Nobody's watching me. I don't have to put on a show, but look like a pumpkin, wear orange. Like, I don't have to have a shaved head. Who actually am I? That comes out. And if that desire is Krishna, that is natural. That is actually the spiritual platform. If it's TikTok Reels, if it's Instagram, if it's YouTube, that's what Krishna says. This is an amazing thing that I also learned from the Gita. Krishna, the world has a way of reciprocating with you. Whatever desire you have, whatever true desire you have, in the next life, you will, and we believe in those next lives, and you will cultivate a certain amount of pious acts or impious acts, and you will get that in your next life. And if you don't get it in this life, karma. So if this whole life, I just want to sleep. Like that, a very crude example. And I just want to sleep 8, 10, 12 hours a day. I know some kids in my school, they were sleeping like 12 hours a day. and like it's half the day. And so Krishna is looking at this, and he's saying like, this person wants to sleep, but this body is only meant to sleep like 7, 8 hours a day is healthy. Let me give him a body that is more conducive to his desire. Who sleeps more than humans? Bears. You know what a bear does in the fall? They just eat a bunch of food, and then they go and they become super fat, and they just go to sleep for hibernation. 23 hours a day. They wake up 1 hour just to pass stool and pass water and use the restroom. But then 23 hours a day, the whole winter, they're sleeping. They find a corner and they sleep. So why not get a body like that? Why not get a body like that? So, if for example, like, there's many examples of kind of the consciousness like that we create is kind of continue with us. So the upadhis or the samskars or the deep impressions that we create now, that's going to continue for the rest of our lives. I just want to end with this final story. I knew this one singer, and she loved music her whole life. And she was driving in a car, and a truck veered over the middle section and was about to crash into her. And she was a spiritualist her whole life. And then somehow she turned the car and it didn't crash into her, but she still crashed her car. And she remembered. And later she was reflecting in a class that what was her final thought when she thought everything was going to end, when she thought she was going to die. You know what her final thought was? Snap, crackle, pop, Rice Krispies. Just this jingle that she hadn't heard in years, in decades, from her childhood, came in her mind. And so she was thinking that so brainwashed I am. At the end of my life, when I thought I was gonna die, I could have become a Rice Krispie at my next life. I could have become a grain in that nice cereal box. So I'm not saying it's that crude, but we also have to cultivate what are we putting in our ears? What are we putting on our eyes? What are we putting in our bodies? This is actually what Krishna is saying. Be aware of what you're consuming, because that will cultivate your consciousness. Does that make sense? Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
So once again, nice round of applause for Hadai. Haribo. So we do this every Sunday. We start off with some dancing in the temple. We come down here, have a little kirtan, have different speakers, and then we follow it with a delicious dinner that we offer to you. But just to get your appetites ready, we'll do just 2-3 minutes of kirtan. Everyone can stand up, raise your arms up.